right, we continue now with a beautiful Tuesday. I'm glad you're here for the conversation. My next guest has become a regular guest in the program because he's talking about a huge project that's replacing Line 5 across the Straits of Mackinac with a tunnel to deliver energy and communication and a lot more for Michigan. Built by Michigan people, as designed by Enbridge, and yet they keep running into roadblocks. They're making progress, but it's been slow. Ryan Duffy is a member of the Enbridge Communication Team. He joins me now. Ryan, nice to have you back on the program.
Good morning, Steve. It's good to talk to you.
Good to have you here. I understand there's an update because there have been some developments with the permitting, and there's been a lot back and forth. It's been the state of Michigan and private groups. And Enbridge, from where I stand, you're just trying to do the right thing. Line 5 is decades old, never really been a problem, but people are concerned about its efficacy or whether it would leak. So you said, well, we'll build this beautiful tunnel 100 feet beneath the Straits of Mackinac, and you can use it for propane or energy or communications. Anyhow, what's the latest on permitting? Where are we in the process?
Yeah, so the tunnel project's moving along. There are a couple things I can update you on. Last week, our tunnel contractors, so the companies will be building the tunnel, they were here in Michigan, up in St. Ignace. So that's CBNA and Bernard Construction. They're operating now under a partnership called the Mackinac Straits Partners. And so the contractors had a nice chance to meet with community members, talk about what's planned, meet with some of the local businesses up there. They talked about how excited they are to build the tunnel and discussed, with the community what they can offer as they move forward toward construction and then work those community goals into part of the planning. So it was a good few days that they were up there in the UP, the Mackinac Straits Partners. As we've talked about, they've built more than 100 tunnels in 15 countries, 300 miles of tunnel. So they're really the best at what they do as far as tunneling. But then there was something else that came up in this process that's been reported on a little bit, that's been out in the news, and I wanted to mention it also. As we've talked about, we received a state permit to build from Eagle, the state agency Eagle, all the way back in 2021. And so we have that permit. We also have the Michigan Public Service Commission approval, which is all the state approvals we need. However, now with the slowdown, as we've been waiting for that federal Army Corps approval, we'll now need to go and renew that Eagle permit to make sure that that continues to be ready to go when we expect the Army Corps to have its decision in 2026. So, our
Ryan,
goal
it's baffling to a lot of us. It's baffling to a lot of us how Eagle could be on board 3 years ago or more now. And the MPSC is on board. And everybody, the boxes are checked. They've gone through the review. But here's the Army Corps. 6 years. 6 years. I mean, what could they possibly be looking at that the environmental people here in Michigan didn't look at up close and personal here years ago?
Right. We applied for all of our permits. Back in 2020, we received that Eagle permit 2021, but the Army Corps likely won't have its decision out until 2026. So that is 6 years to make that decision. And that Eagle permit only lasts 5 years. So it would expire in early 2026, right around the time we would need it. So we need to go ahead and start the process to renew so that we're ready to go. It is disappointing, of course, this slow process, but we try to remain really focused on making progress where we can on our end.
Sure.
So that's what we're doing, making sure we have the contractors. That was a big part of that. We know it's a great project. It's an important project. It's modernization. It's fully protecting the environment, the waters of the Straits and the Great Lakes, and make sure that energy we need. And we see how much we need it right now going into winter,
We sure do.
Continues. And it's a popular project. 70% of people in Michigan support it, and we have 33 counties that have passed resolutions supporting the project.
If I read this right a while back, Ryan, Michigan residents use more propane than any other state in America to heat their homes, for example, to cook their food. So propane that comes through Line 5 and in the future the tunnel, it's critical, especially in the UP, but also south of the bridge. I mean, we use more propane than any state in America, my understanding. Am I right about that?
Yeah, that's true. Propane's very important in Michigan, and especially now here, we're in the first week of fall. Line 5 is supplying more than half the state's propane, more than 65% of the UP's propane. And then also what's interesting this time of year, a lot is being used in agriculture. So farming so important in Michigan. The agricultural industry contributes more than $100 billion to the economy, employs nearly 1 million people here. And right now that propane is being used for harvesting, that process of drying crops so they
Right.
can be harvested. The raw material to manufacture that farm equipment relies on the natural gas liquids and light crude transported through Line 5. And then the pipeline provides the fuel for the farming equipment and the machinery, and as well as for all those trucks that deliver the food to the supermarkets and restaurants and homes. And so now as the temperature is getting colder here, overall propane use goes way up. And there are more than 300,000 homes in the state that rely solely on propane for all their heating.
That's right. Homes rely on it, and you're right. Every time it rains, the farmers see their bill go up because propane is used to dry the grain in the bins. You see those big trucks rolling down the roads this time of the year, whether it's corn or beans, whatever it is, has to be dried before it is sent off to market. Ryan Duffy, always appreciate you being here. Thank you for the update today, sir.
Okay, anytime. Thanks, Steve.
There you have it. He is from Enbridge. It's Ryan Duffy, and it's just baffling to me. What could possibly take 6 years to sort out with the Army Corps of Engineers when Eagle and everybody else looked at it and said, yep, we're good to go. And of course, they get pushed here and there. And you wonder if games get played in the re-permitting process, because we know that Governor Whitmer and Dana Nessel, the AG, and others, they don't like Line 5 or its replacement plan. I don't know why. It's a $500 million project that will be handed to Michigan. You'll own this. It's an enormous gift for a state that's broke. Anyhow, I digress. Let's see. Still to come here today, J. Christian Adams, president of the Public Interest Legal Foundation. I'll be right back.